My name is Serge Gingras, and I'm the Alberta Party candidate in Red Deer South for the provincial election. I've been living in Red Deer for 30 years. I've been living in Alberta for 34 years. And I initially came to Alberta from Quebec City. Since I've been living in Red Deer in the last 30 years, I've been teaching at Red Deer College. I'm a language instructor, and I'm also currently a faculty professional development consultant, which means that I help faculty with things related to teaching and learning, facilitate sessions and bring speakers and that kind of stuff. So my scope in the work that I do is not only limited to teaching languages, but also doing research in languages. So and connected to my research, it branches out into issues like support and services to seniors, Alzheimer's and dementia. I do research on language retention as it relates to the speed of memory loss in the early stages of Alzheimer's and dementia. So I have a great, huge interest in education. Not only post-secondary because of what I do, but also in the K-12 system. And because of my 30 years of teaching, I've seen the changes in curriculum and changes in interaction between teachers and students and support available to teachers and students. And one of the things that I'm really, really concerned about right now is the budget that the PC presented on March 26th, and how that's going to affect education, seniors, healthcare, and essentially services to Albertans. Well, the Alberta Party was formed about 7 years ago from a group of people who, for the most part, used to be either PC members or PC voters or PC supporters. And we're looking at what the PC and government were doing in terms of direction, and didn't like the direction that the party and the government were taking. So there was a grassroots movement, and there was a broad consultation of Albertans asking Albertans what they perceive their government to be, what they would like government to be, and what are their hopes for the future of Alberta. And we use that information to build our policies. So we're a party that is fiscally responsible, looking at the different sources of revenues, for example, that we have, looking at new sources of revenues or change the sources of revenues, diversify the economy more than it is right now, while looking after the needs of Albertans in terms of education, healthcare, social services, and everything related to the public sector particularly. Well, people are really concerned about the change in government and how government tends to cater more and more to big corporations and industries. I'm not saying that it shouldn't, but not at the sacrifice of the needs of Albertans and hitting particularly the public sector. In education, we're starting to see the consequences of the budget in terms of larger class size, for example, less support to teachers and students, and not accommodating the growth in number of students. So there's reduced funding in there, it's happening in all sectors of services to Albertans. Absolutely. There are still a large number of people who don't vote because over time they either disengage from the political gesture of voting, and there's a greater disconnect among the voters and government and the exercise of voting. I'm also hearing people who used to be PC supporters who want to vote for another party. What I'm asking them to do is not look only at the banner under which candidates run, but also look at the individual candidates and see what they have to bring to the table and who is best fit to represent the interests of the community and the constituency to government.